All right, this is our second variation of our same formula. We are still centered at 0, 0, and I can tell that because it is still x squared, y squared. You have no x minus h or y minus k, so still 0, 0. Now, though, our major axis is along the y. So this one looks kind of more circular, but this is elongated along that y. And I can tell that because now my a squared, and I always know which one a squared is, because it is the bigger of the two numbers. My a squared is under now my y. Let me kind of. So my a still goes with major, b still goes with minor, c still goes with foci. The order has changed. Notice my major was at negative a 0, now it's at 0, negative a. So the order here on all of those have changed, so be careful. But this formula stays the same. Still using that Pythagorean theorem. This is my leg squared plus my leg squared equals my hypotenuse squared. Okay, so let's try this. Analyze the equation, that is, again, find the center, the vertice, and the foci. So this is not in the correct form. We explained when we are comparing our two equations that these always need to equal 1. So because this equals 16, we need to rewrite it. So let me just rewrite this here. To get this to equal 1, I need to divide this by 16, and so I'm going to divide everything by 16. So 16 over 16 cancels. You could just leave this as x squared, but for visual purposes, I'm going to go ahead and put this over 1. Plus, can't do anything here, so y squared over 16, and that equals 1. So now this is in the correct form, so now we can start answering our questions. First thing we always want to do is identify that major axis. And my major axis here, because my bigger number is under y, is now my y-axis. Okay, we can also tell from this formula here what my center is. And the center is at 0, 0, which is one of the things that we need to answer. So check, we have found that center. For vertices and foci, I need my A and technically my C. Okay, so from this one right here, if my bigger number represents my A squared, so I'll go ahead and just put this here is my A squared. So if A squared is 16, then A is 4. Then my other number is my B squared. So if B squared is 1, the square root of 1 is 1. So I can answer the vertice, but I can't answer as the foci. So let's go ahead and get our C real quick. C, where do I want to go? We'll go out here. We are going to use B squared plus C squared equals A squared. B squared's 1. I don't know C squared, and A squared is 16. Subtract your 1 over, and we get 16 equals 15. Now I need to take the square root, but the square root of 15 is just 3 and 5, so I don't have a pair of anything to come out. So C is the square root of 15. Now we're going to have to end up graphing that, so let's just go ahead. And the square root of 15 is about 3.9. Okay, so now we can answer our questions. We need vertices. Okay, and when I hear vertices, I think include all 4, but they are talking only about the major vertices. And my major vertice is at 0, -a, and 0, a. So 0, 4, and 0, -4. And my foci are at 0, -c, and 0, c. We will get 0 square root 15 and 0 square root 15. Let me make these a little bit more bold. So it's not asking for this. It's asking for these pieces of information. So I have found the center. I have found my major vertices and my foci. Now we need to graph it. You can again use this right here, but I like to just use my A, B, and C personally. So my center is at the origin. Because my major axis is along the X, or sorry, along the Y, when I use A, I'm going to go down 4 for my major vertice and up 4 for my major vertice. These numbers are very far apart, so this is going to be pretty skinny. My B is left and right one for my lowercase mv, my minor vertices. And then my C needs to be along my major axis is 3.9. Now I can't really make this accurate, so I'm just going to make it as close to that point as I can. But we do need to know that that's a lot closer together, because those are almost more of like 3.5. And now connect your vertices together. And so there is my ellipse. Because these are so far apart, this is a very skinny ellipse. So let's try one more example of when my center is still at the origin. And example 4 is going to look a lot like example 1. Find the equation of an ellipse. I'm going to plot these as I read them, having one focus at 0, 3, and vertices. And what are they talking about? We're talking about major vertices at 0, -4, and at 0, 4. Okay, so we need to identify 2 things right from the bat. Where is my major axis? And because my major vertices and my foci are all on that y-axis, that means makes my major axis along the y. The other thing that we need that we haven't been given, we've always been given before, is the center. Now, while they don't say the center is at blank, we do know the center. Because these major vertices need to be equal distance from the center, you can either use your midpoint formula to figure out where is the middle point, or just kind of logically, right? You go 1 up, 1 down, 1 up, 1 down. Where are we going to end up? Right here at the origin. Okay, so because I have a major axis along the y and centered at 0, 0, meeting these 2 criteria here, this is the formula that I am using. So x squared over b squared plus y squared over a squared equals 1. Okay, so I need a, b, and c to plug into this formula here. Which 2 variables here are we given? And in fact, I think this is a good spot. This is completely set up. Why don't you try pausing the video and seeing if you can write this equation? Okay, I hope you paused the video and I hope you gave this a try. So we need to identify our A, B, and C. My A is the distance from center to major, so that is 4. I don't have anything on my minor, but what I do have is C, the distance from my center to my focus, which is 3. So now let's use our formula of B squared plus C squared equals A squared. B squared we don't know. C squared is 9. A squared would be 16. Subtract your 9 over, and we've got B squared equals 7. Now we're eventually going to have to graph this, but for writing the equation, I have everything I need. I have x squared over b squared. We found b squared equals 7, so that is going in for b squared. Plus y squared over a squared. When you square that, we get 16, and then that equals 1. So there is my equation. So now let's graph this. I can easily graph my second focus. If my focus is 3, we've already went 3 up, so now we're going to go 3 down. And now I need to find B. So we'll take the square root here. And the square root of 7, that's a prime number. So we've got square root 7, but that doesn't help me plot. The square root of 7 is about 2.6. Okay, so from my center, I'm going to go over roughly 2.5 for my lowercase mv, and then go over 2.5 again for a lowercase mv. I'm sorry, you couldn't see anything I was doing, but from the center, I went over 2.5 and over 2.5. So let's connect these vertices together. And here is my ellipse. Starting next video, we're going to start shifting these. They're not going to be centered at the origin anymore.